come here every week and we talk about small business and journeys and how we got started and where we're at now. So we will start with you, Madame.
Hi, I'm Jannette Sanchez. I founded Trece Cielos 5 years ago. I come from Mexico City, and basically I've been doing this since my 4-year-old was born.
So what exactly do you do? Let's let everyone know, because they might not know.
I'm a designer. I was into UX design, website design, but I started, like, for me, it was a bit stressful when I was going to become a mother. So eventually I was trying to look for more ways to still get some cash, while kind of having it easy, you know? When you're being a mom, you want something more easy, something more flexible as well. So I started printing my illustrations on coffee mugs. That's the way I started.
Where did you find the mugs? Because that's really cool, actually, craft. But where did you find the mugs to print on? And
Actually, I was using a company that already makes mugs. So the way that I started, I was just giving it away as presents for friends and family. And they eventually start asking, "Oh, where did you get them?" And I was like, I made them. They were like, "Oh, they are so cool. I want to buy some. Can you make an extra?" And I was, "Okay, totally." But the company that I was doing them, they were charging me like $15 each. So then practically, I mean, how much you can sell a mug for? Like the maximum could be 20. So
right.
I wasn't doing it. Obviously, I wasn't doing any money. But I was doing it for the fun of it, just like having.
How many years was that before you started making a profit?
How
many years have you been doing it before you kind of started like making a little bit of money, or?
Like from 2015.
Wow.
So it's been.
So you kept the drive and you kept going.
Yes.
Cool. I want to really talk more about Mexico City and here, and then more about your journey. But I'm going to pass it on over to here.
Okay. Thank you.
Introduce yourself, please, ma'am.
I am Sarah with Jackalope Arts.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Let's give Sarah a round of applause. Did you bring everyone tonight?
I don't know.
I'm really actually stoked to have you here, because how long has Jackalope been around?
This is our 5th year.
Okay. And you started out in your journey, kind of like maybe walk us through that.
Well, I guess my journey, I would say, started with my first business in middle school, and it was making scrunchies for my classmates.
Ooh. Yep. Hustle.
And then after that,
you bought them at the 99-cent store?
I made them. I did make them.
That's cool.
After that, my first real business was actually in college. I started a record label, and shortly after we put out our first record, Apple came out with the iPod, and that was really great for us. So we ended up kind of pivoting the business a little bit more towards band management and tour booking, where I could actually still make a little bit of a living doing music. So I booked national tours for bands, and it kind of got me into the arts world in general, and that's what brought me to the place where my career sits today.
It's interesting because I feel like we talked about this a little bit earlier, but there's a huge maker and artisan kind of renaissance happening. And I think a lot of it has to do with like social media and like the ability to actually get and make objects and sell it to the masses. And you're one of the few fairs, right, that kind of does that in the area. Where exactly do you guys do your fairs at besides Pasadena?
Well, yeah, we do Pasadena 3 times a year, and then we also do our fair in Denver, Colorado, and then this year we just started curating the Downtown Burbank Arts Festival.
Cool. So a lot of people that come here kind of they don't know how to start. So how much time does it take to get a permit? Is it a significant amount of money that you have to invest? Is it mild? I mean, for someone that's like, hey, I want to really start doing a fair, or how do I even start? I mean, do you have any advice for someone like that? Then we'll start out.
Well,
because permits are one thing that takes a long time, right?
Yeah, it's
Location.
not even so much the time, just as the persistence, especially when you're dealing with the city and government, just kind of going back and being like, hey, did you get my email? Over and over again until you finally get to the right person or find somebody who cares to get back to you. Sometimes it's about that. As far as finances are concerned, you know, I guess we were in a lucky position because my husband and I were saving for a house. We weren't quite ready to buy a house yet, and I wanted to start this business, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna gamble on myself. I'm gonna borrow this money from us, and I'll give it back. And it ended up working out.
Is your husband here tonight?
He is. And we still bought our house.
Did she pay you back? No, I'm just kidding. Wow, that's really inspiring, actually. So I'm going to go back to you for a minute, too, and we're going to talk to Winston. Hi, Winston.
What's up, bud?
Let's talk about your journey.
As far as
Specifically, I think you've got a couple things going on. One is like the coffee
coffee
cart,
espresso cart, yeah.
which is awesome, and then the other one is kind of you as a handyman, craftsman.
Yeah, so it's basically artist turned craftsman in the sense that I was doing art for many years and have just been obsessed with different species of wood and how to integrate them into my art. Species of wood. That's a real
and
thing.
the pineapples you make. Ooh, those are
Yes.
really rad. Yeah.
Which I want to talk to you about. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you make some awesome pineapples.
So basically, the balance came in when I'm obsessed with chair design, and I think it's like mini architecture. You know, you're building these things that they need to have structural integrity, and if you don't know how to do that, then you go sideways and they pretty much fall apart. So I've always been obsessed with that. So as I kind of progressed, not away from art, but just as a different direction, I got really into the craftsman world, but without like the background in it. So I was really lucky because just serendipitously, I basically he didn't like come forth and was like, hey, I'll be your mentor, but I was like, you're gonna be my mentor, and it is a guy named Chris.
Found your mentor.
Yeah,
Nice.
exactly. So a guy named Chris from Pasadena Architectural Salvage. Really,
Well, that's a great place.
yeah. So basically, I started working there with him, but he's naturally a person that gives information anyway, so he wasn't like holding anything back. He was teaching as we were doing things, and so what we would do is we basically take parts of the architecture out of houses that were going to be demoed, bring them back to the shop, and then try to reverse engineer the pieces that are missing, that are still a part of the structure. And through that, you learn how people used to build things really well. Turn of the century, 1900s into the 40s, things were built really, really well. So just by observing, what I saw from dismantling, as well as all the stuff I got from him, it was kind of like a fast track. Well, I think mentorship is a fast track because you're learning things that would have taken you years to figure out yourself. And they're pumped. They took years to figure that out. So they want to share that with you. So
and he has that awesome shop over there too.
And Pasadena Architectural Salvage is amazing. Yeah.
So then, how did you jump from that into like? Because I say pineapples just because I think they're rad, but
yeah,
you make the most cool wooden pineapple thing. I don't even know what you call it, but
yeah. Right? So it's basically a air plant holder.
Oh, there we go.
And the air plant is like the top of a pineapple. And the pineapple itself is out of salvaged wood. And
then where do you sell those, or is it e-commerce or?
So right now they're on my website, as well as when I have them in stock, I'll sell them at my wife's shop.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm doing Facebook Live at the same time. Cool. Let's get back to you. Let's get this back to you. We'll go back to Winston in a minute. So how did you end up in Pasadena area?
In Pasadena. We moved from Mexico. I moved from Mexico City. I met my husband here in LA. We met through internet and through friends.
Which internet? No, I'm just kidding.
The internet. The Internet of Things. So I don't know how we ended up in Pasadena, but we didn't know about the city, Los Angeles, or anything. So we end up realizing that we end up in an area that is really artsy in a way, and diverse artistic movements started here. So for us was kind of like a symbolic in a way, right? My husband is an architect, so we started opening a company, architecture company, in the worst of the crisis back in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a huge step, and well, my journey obviously, we started with a company building, something related with all things architecture, design.
Okay. And you do illustration too, right?
Yes,
right.
At that time, that's when I started, working more on the most technical part of design, like website design. I was taking courses for coding, like more technical.
Right.
And that was kind of like, for me, it was like a way. At the beginning was hard for me because I come from a very square family. So my dad is an engineer, my mom is into business management. So obviously in my case, my family wasn't believing in design. Like design for them was like, oh, that's like for poor people, or like
right.
It's not something really valuable. So for me at that time, it was like continuing the career with my husband and working on something more technical. For me, was like a way to prove myself to them.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't really creating something for me.
Did you guys have any like help with financing, or did you kind of start from scratch?
No, we start from scratch, totally. Like even the business, we started, word of mouth. We didn't have any friends, anything. So we...
Can you imagine doing it without Instagram nowadays? Isn't it, if you think about it? I mean, it was word of mouth, but now that there's social media, I feel like it's
way
insane,
better,
right?
Yeah, definitely.
You've got Pinterest, Instagram,
Yeah.
Facebook, all this other stuff. But
Yelp.
Yeah.
Actually, we started with Yelp.
Really?
And Yelp was like our tool. It's like the way, a lot of people started,
How fun.
Yeah.
So your stuff is amazing, by the way. So how can people find your shop?
I'm online on Etsy. I have my website is trececielosmugs.com.
Spell that for
Trececielos.
TRES.CIELOS.
MUGS.com.
Okay, cool. And then, real quick, so you started doing that, and then when did you start doing the fairs and stuff? Because this is where you guys kind of mesh, which is kind of cool.
The what?
The fairs, like.
I started in, I think, 2017 with Unique Markets.
Okay.
As I told you before, I was, doing outsourcing my mugs. So they were like 15, and I will sell, 12, and I will sell them at Unique Markets for 15. That's when I say, oh wow, this is fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wasn't doing obviously anything.
And you had to pay for a booth and this and that, right?
It's expensive, by the way.
Yeah.
Like the booth was like, right now is $6.95, the booth. So it's expensive, but it's worth it.
Right.
Yeah. So.
I don't want to ask how much your booth is in. Okay.
$275.
Oh.
Yeah.
How much? $375? $275. Did you hear that? And if you buy a booth today, it's $274.
50%.
I'll give you $1. So where do you make your stuff now? Because where was the transition where you decided, hey, I'm going out and making mugs somewhere else. I'm making $3 a mug to, I'm going to buy my own machine.
I think that fair was like the breakthrough. It was like so fun. I was super shy. I was afraid of selling. And after that show, it's like, yes, I'm doing it. Like.
But do you make the mugs here now? Yourself?
Now I make them here. Okay. Like I cover like a huge range of products, like from mugs, travel mugs, different stuff.
And do you have your own like screen printing machine?
Wow. Right now I have my machines.
Okay.
So I start, investing little by little in my machines, the equipment, the printer, everything. Yeah.
That's huge. Yeah. I think because a lot of people, first of all, they want to know how to start. Yeah. And then you started, and then you kind of brought it back so that you're making more of a profit.
Yes.
Do you do this at a garage, or you have a studio, or where do you get all this done?
Yeah, it's like our home studio. So it's
awesome.
There. But yeah, that's what I was, that I want, one of the things that I wanted to mention, that you find like is your true passion once you start investing all your things in it, like not only money, but your time, like researching, looking for ways to do stuff, like.
Right. Well, and they're offering different products basically, which is cool.
Yes.
Right? So you do mugs?
I do coffee mugs.
Coffee mugs,
I
which are
print out
awesome, by
coffee
the way.
mugs custom.
I really would hope that you guys check your stuff out because it's amazing. Okay.
Thank you.
And you illustrate what, cards?
And then eventually I came back to my old, to my roots. So I offer brand identity. I do custom illustration. Mainly my clients are like coffee shops that they want, their coffee mugs with their brand, their logo.
So you private label too?
Yeah.
So you make other people's stuff with their logo on it as well?
No. Usually they like.
They
like
take
custom.
one of your designs.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Cool.
And then, for example, I do the coffee mugs for some TV shows.
Awesome.
Some of the mugs that you see when you are like in the news, where they have like they are mine.
Oh,
so
wow, that's cool.
Different
Awesome.
clients. It's a lot of the diversity that
Right.
you can get. So it's
Well, I
nice.
could see the passion that you have too. It's like
nice.
awesome. Yeah. So I'm gonna send it over to you as I'm trying to do my Facebook Live. Sorry. I'm literally gonna pass this to you. I want you to stay in here too. Okay. You see how many vendors a year? Like 200, 100, 300, 400?
Thousands of vendors. Thousands, yeah. Thousands of vendors, yeah.
How do you set people apart? Like, you know her story, and I don't think you get to hear someone's story like today, but what do you see when someone wants to apply to, if they want to apply to your fair, what's some advice you're going to give them for that?
Well, a few simple things would be spell check, make sure that your website is properly linked. You wouldn't believe how often we try to click through, or our jurors try to click through, and a website link is broken, or it leads somewhere where a site's under construction, or it leads to an Instagram with 2 pictures. And it's really important for our jurors and us to be able to see the whole picture so we can get an idea of the branding and not only the quality of the work, but make a decision on if we think that's something that our customers are going to be interested in shopping for, because we don't want to have people in the show that we don't think will make sales, because we want everyone to have the best time possible.
And you've done, 6 shows, you think, as a maker? 4 to 6 shows?
Shows?
Like fairs?
No,
1, 2, 3,
probably 4? Like actually last year we were super busy. I was doing like probably 3 shows per week.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh
And
my gosh.
Yeah, I was taking it easy. Yeah. Honestly.
Wow.
So yeah, it was about 3 or 2 shows per week.
Wow.
Mostly the weekends.
Because this is, a lot of this has to do with you too, but what advice do you have then? Because now you're like a vet doing this.
I think
Because
all
she
the
kind of explained her process, right? But when you show up, do you have custom booths? Do you have custom build outs? Do you have custom woodworking? Do you have signage? Like, what sets you apart to sell the day of doing this craft fair or show?
Actually, one of the things that I realized is they judge you by the way, like she said, like by the way everything in your brand looks, from your website to your Instagram to your, so you have to have like certain integrity, like certain style,
Right.
eye-catchy,
Right, branded product and
branded
content.
product. Like you have to have like certain image.
And when you show up, you take that same image to on-site and basically
yes,
tell your story.
exactly.
Good advice. Okay, cool. Can we bring it back to you? I have a lot to talk to you about.
Oh.
So, where was your first fair? Was it in Pasadena?
It was in Pasadena.
So you do 2 in Pasadena,
3 in Pasadena.
3 in Pasadena, and then where did Burbank come about? Or when did Burbank come about? Do you do one in Burbank too?
Yes, 1 in Burbank.
Thank God. Well, she said no. Yeah. So far you're doing Burbank, and then you also have Denver, right?
Yes.
How does that happen? Is someone from Denver or?
Yeah, so my
Okay.
partner Melissa is from Denver. So
Okay.
when we started this, we started in our home cities. so that we would have some connections. So I lived right down the street from Central Park, and then she was from Denver, Colorado, so it just made sense for us to kind of go back and forth because they have a really vibrant art community there too.
And how is the response versus Pasadena or California versus Colorado?
It's still a really great response, but a very different vibe in the shoppers and even the vendors a little bit. And then, of course, just the venue lends itself to that because in Denver, it's always an indoor venue because their weather is so crazy. One day it can be really hot, and then the next day it's snowing. And so we always do our shows indoors there. So it has just a completely different vibe with the music piping through. Then we have, like, in the outdoor park atmosphere, they're both their own thing.
Right. When you first started out, have you changed your marketing since then, or do you guys spend money on marketing, or do you spend it on social, or do you take ads out in newspapers?
Yeah, we do, all of that.
Okay. So for someone that, let's say, she's never been to your show, and she wants to be a vendor, what do you do for the vendors to help market your fair?
Well, one of the things that we've when we first started, we tried so many different things to see what would work. We would take out print ads, we would do social media ads, we would do all sorts of different things, and it felt like a waste of money sometimes when certain things you wouldn't get any click-throughs back, and you just felt like, man, is anyone even seeing this? And lately we've kind of finally honed in on what works for us, and we have billboards that we've been getting. And,
oh, wow.
So we have 2 billboards up right now, one in Eagle Rock and one in Highland Park.
How do you get ROI from that? Is it just kind of, is there a way to track that, really? Do people talk about it?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's one
good.
thing is
Right.
people
That's
say
the
they
best
saw the billboard.
Only way you can do it, really, right?
Because we don't actually know for sure.
Right.
I really wish that, I used
you
to
can
play.
like photo it and like bing.
Yeah, well, I used to play a game when I was a kid called Theme Park, and all the little characters would have like thought bubbles above their heads on what they were thinking, and I wish that our vendor or that our shoppers would have those saying like where they learned about the fair, but they don't. So sometimes we just kind of try to see how we can canvas and find out how people are learning about it.
It would be cool to do a hashtag on the billboard, and then if they use that hashtag, you could track that.
Like
Though
a
people are
specific
driving.
billboard hashtag.
Or get a discount for the purchase or something like that.
Yeah.
On the billboard.
Yeah.
Based upon
Well,
the
the
billboard.
artists would have to all agree to that.
Winston, was that free? Free advice? Okay, good. That's interesting. And then what do you think about social versus like 2-3 years ago? Is it harder to get the same response it used to get, or is it about the same? And are you spending money on Facebook and Instagram ads or no?
Yeah, we still spend money on Facebook and Instagram ads, and I would say, obviously just because our following has gotten bigger, that it's gotten easier, but we're still doing the same, advertising on social that we were doing at the beginning because we don't want to drop the ball and get too comfortable.
Are you making it like more micro and research now, or is it sort of I don't know a lot about social spends, but are you taking that information and like honing it down, or is it just the same spend every time?
Yeah, well, that's one thing that's pretty cool is that, we're able to see kind of who our clients are, and so we kind of know, okay, we have a lot of women shoppers between 25 and 45, and
awesome.
Here's where they live.
That's your audience.
Yeah, so we kind of know what types of shoppers to push for.
Awesome. What are you saying over there? Laughing at Mary. Let's go back to Winston for a minute.
Bring it back.
How did you start with your coffee cart?
So Steamboat Coffee LA.
Because we talked to Chuck.
Yes.
3 weeks ago, Chuck Jones.
So
he broke it down a little bit.
Yeah, Steamboat Coffee kind of started as.
First of all, do you need coffee at your fair?
Yeah.
We actually
Boom,
talked years
right
ago.
there.
Years
Thank
ago.
you.
Yeah. But
That was free. No commission
it's
needed.
back
Thank
to
you.
that licensing that I don't have yet. But so Steamboat kind of came about. I was working this really odd coffee situation where I was traveling all over the United States, serving coffee at convention centers, which was really odd. But a friend of mine from that and I started Steamboat because you see all these different carts that are out there either at weddings or office, staff appreciation, and they're just kind of very generic. So we wanted to kind of create a coffee cart or espresso cart that had this vibe. So you felt like you were actually at your neighborhood coffee shop.
Dude, Facebook just wanted me to tag you. It recognized your face. Isn't that crazy?
We
live?
We friends.
I can't believe that.
We friends on Facebook.
I just waved to you, bro. Did you get my wave? Anyway, sorry. That's crazy, though, to me.
You threw me off right now.
Sorry.
Yeah, so...
Can't believe that.
Yeah, so the idea there was, again, to bring back the same idea that we have here, which is to kind of get away from that kind of pretentious coffee shop that's kind of happened in the last
kind of like
5
our
years.
meetup.
yeah, kind of like our meetup. Yeah, exactly. Very, very friendly, homey, very warm, cozy.
Hold me.
So the coffee cart came about from me being an artist and wanting to design a cart for it, but that goes into the idea of when you put too much art into it and the functionality is not there. So I had I built this cart that had like silvered wood and wood
It was the best cart anyone's ever seen.
Yeah, but it was so heavy. So for anyone that is looking into doing something like that, a coffee cart, functionality is definitely the number. Because you're in LA, so you think like, I have to stand out. I have to do something that's so unique and people will notice. Yes, that's true, but you also have to have really, really good coffee, and you have to have a functional cart, or every time you go out, you're like, is this worth it? Because you run into all these problems. Like I had these mining casters on it, which, some venues were like, dude, you can't bring that in here.
Someone like me would never do it handmade. I have to buy it somewhere else.
Yes.
I can't do it. But what does it cost for an average Joe to buy a cart?
So, yeah, if you're going to invest in your own cart, so there's so many aspects of that, because if you're talking about the cart alone, you're going to want to get a cart that, is fully functional as far as casters and wheels. The design.
Built for speed?
Not for speed.
Built for comfort?
Yeah, but definitely not going up or down staircases. So you want to get something that the inside of it is custom. So that's where you get into...
money.
Yeah, it being pricey. Same thing with woodworking.
The range
when you get into
for
custom, people don't realize what custom means. It's so much more expensive than if you get something that's already pre-built.
But you made your own, so that's different.
That's different,
right?
Exactly.
But yours would probably cost like what, $7,000 or something?
Well, mine would cost way more, and this is the same thing with what I'm trying to figure out with my art. It would cost way more than anyone would pay for it, because I put so many things into it that like I said, wood from the Magic Castle that I salvaged and all these different things.
Oh wow, cool.
That to me it makes it priceless and really, really heavy.
Okay.
So
you'd have to have a stationary location for that coffee cart to work, basically.
Yes, well,
probably, right?
Yeah.
Instead of carrying it around.
Yes, so a stationary area, but really my point was that you need to start with the functionality and then build the uniqueness on top of that. So you need to have all the custom shelving underneath. You need to have, when you're going out, there's one thing for anyone that's in coffee is having a milk pitcher washer on your cart, which means that you have to have tanks of water and water pump. There's all these things that kind of add up. And then your machine is king. Spending 2,000 to 6,000 is mandatory.
What about permits and stuff like that?
So, you get your originally you get your insurance, just in case, coffee spills on Jason, something like that. And that's a couple $100. But yeah, getting permits, it's different everywhere, just like, you've dealt with. And the big part of it is waiting to hear back from people. So for this place, we had everything dialed in for the coffee shop, but we just could not get a hold of our guy. And then he came out and he's like, "Oh, you need to do this."
If he's listening, what's his name?
So nonchalant. Yeah, you want an address? And then I was like, "Well, what about does this have to be a certain height?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I would have totally not passed this if you didn't do that." It's like he wasn't going to say that. I had to ask the question. So that's really if you talk about permitting across the board anywhere, I think that's really the biggest challenge. Is because you can save the money waiting to hear back from these guys because they take forever.
Cool.
So as far as a cart goes, that's not unique. That's just meets all your standards. You're looking at about, I'd probably say $2,000 to $3,000 minus the machine and grinder.
And then you posted up kind of by the last bookstore, right? A couple times?
So we did a pop-up.
But how many people had to be there for you to even make money?
Totally illegal. What?
How many people had to make money? So what does it take to make a profit?
Yeah, so profit
in a cart?
On coffee is the reason that worked there is because we had a place to store the cart. So any kind of catering, when you're in the catering world, half the battle is setting up and breaking down.
Is this in case LA County's listening?
Yeah, exactly. So we had a place that was on site that we could store the cart, or we wouldn't have made money. Because coffee has a pretty good margin, but the act of catering is really the hard part of like setting up and breaking down. So we probably had to see, and we're at the last bookstore, which pumps people through it. We had to have people buy an average of a $6 ticket. Like just to break even, probably like 50 people a day.
50?
50, yeah.
That's not bad.
It's not bad, but that's breaking even.
Yeah, and that's with another person, or you by yourself?
We were still running it together, Richard and I. Yeah.
Have you broke even in the cart?
Well,
you made it yourself.
Yeah.
So
maybe, kind of, going back to what you guys were talking about is, yes, you're breaking even, but you're also investing so much money back into your business that it's a little bit harder to gauge that breaking point, because you should be investing a significant percentage of all the money that you're making just right back into it. So and that's when you kind of hit those tipping points and you kind of start to see growth.
Most people can't do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Most people spend it.
Or hopefully they have another job and then they're doing it on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. And then how long has Lost Parrot been open?
Year, 2 months.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't seem that long, huh?
I know. It's crazy.
Wow. Where have I been? Cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to the gals. Sara, what's it like having a 1-month-old and running a business?
Well, it's a little more challenging than I expected,
I
actually. Kind of silly. I should have known.
But you have a partner, thank gosh, right?
I have a partner, and thank God I do. My pregnancy was a lot harder than I thought it would be. I thought I could just, okay, I'm going to be fine, 9 months, pop out the baby, and then, maybe I'll be down for a little while and everything will be normal. And then I got assigned to bed rest. I was on bed rest for most of my pregnancy, and we had 2 shows during that time. So that was really challenging for me and my partner. And I ended up
working from your phone?
I worked from my bed a lot. My husband kind of did everything for me, but I had my computer, my office, everything got moved to my bedroom, and somehow we made it through that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were those the ones here in Pasadena and Burbank, or? Yes,
Pasadena and Burbank, and our Burbank show was 3 days before my baby. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was crazy, but now he's here, and he's looking forward to making his debut at our August show. Yep, he'll be working.
What's the baby's name?
Wells.
Nice. Family name?
What was that?
Family name?
Nope. My husband and I it was the one name we could agree on.
Nice. Cool. So what advice do you have? You kind of went over like the whole system or process to getting into your fair, but what advice do you have to people that want to start out?
That want to start their own business in general?
Yeah.
Well, number one, I would say contracts. I think that's something that everyone really looks over. They're starting a business with a family member or a friend, and they're like, oh, it's fine. We agree on everything. We're always going to agree forever. Well, that's not true. You're not. And it's nice to really invest that money to figure out what you're going to do when you hit those roadblocks before they get there, before there's emotion involved. That's super important. And then
Or when you start making money.
Well, yeah, that too.
That's a big part too.
That too.
Right?
Yeah, you just
or not making money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Those are all the
Yeah, and then number two, I would say, you really have to, especially in this era where everyone is so easily accessible online. You need to find a way to make yourself stand out, and I think one way that we do that with Jackalope is we really make ourselves very accessible. We always reply to emails. We, we reply to social media. We're fast, and so many people take so long. It's very frustrating, especially in the arts. You'll never hear from people, and it's really important to be reliable, and people respect that, and they'll want to work with you when they know that you are someone that they can count on.
Awesome. Jannette, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but how about some advice? You gave us some nuggets already.
Yeah, the same as her. being there when you're needed, being reliable. I mean, it's just, sometimes I tell my husband, it's just mugs. But yeah, even with just doing mugs or an illustration or anything, you show, you be there on time. I mean, it could be the slightest, work that you done, but if you do it good and if you do it, on time, the way that you held yourself accountable is the way that people are gonna treat you. If you show interest, people is gonna be interested in your work. If you show that you're a professional, people are gonna be interested in your work. So
Good.
that's my advice.
One more question I thought about. Do you guys sell to stores?
Do
Do you sell to retail stores too, or no?
Yes.
Because that kind of goes, what you're talking about sort of goes back to the retail aspect too, which you want to treat your customers that are in retail the same way.
Yes,
I feel like.
exactly.
Because a retail customer is also your end customer on e-com as well. They should be treated the same way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, like she said, like we try to be there. If they send you an email or a text or a call, I always try, to respond quickly, to make contact fast. And it's funny because you mentioned before social media, right? So when we started, there wasn't any Instagram, there wasn't any Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And now that people contact me through Instagram, let's say, or through Yelp, it's like they already know me and they are so casual with me, so friendly.
Right.
Like it's like they already see my work and they feel like I'm super friendly, so they get to meet with this attitude, which is like super
Well, I think
cool.
you do a really good job narrating your journey too. So I think
Mhm.
people kind of feel like they know you as well,
Thank
right?
you.
And I think that's very important for anyone in business to talk about your journey and document the whole thing. So I think you do a good job doing that as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then what do you make stuff? So do you live in South Pass now?
We live in South
Okay.
Pasadena
So
now.
I think that's cool because she makes stuff in South Pass, which is
Yes.
kind of rare.
Actually,
There's
I
a
just
few of
did-
us, I bet.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just did the mugs for. I didn't know that Moby, one of my favorite artists, has a vegan restaurant. So we just did the mugs for him. And
Oh,
he,
cool.
He directed the process, the illustration. He approved my work, so it was really exciting to. Pine, yeah. So I did the custom. Actually, brought it. I did the custom illustration for them so they are gonna have it as a retail product in their coffee shop. So it was like a good thing.
Now the question that's burning me is, when is Lost Parrot going to carry your cups?
I'm ready.
I said when. Just kidding. Any advice?
Just kidding.
For woodworking, I'd say advice is, if you're looking to get into it, if you're already like well within owning a lot of tools and having a space, just connecting with other woodworkers is really, really awesome. There's a place called Community Woodshop.
Woodshop.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
on
I've
San
been there.
Fernando.
Yes.
Those guys are great. They're super awesome, really nice. And the hardest part about woodworking, like any shop, is, as you're doing a project, you're always like, man, I just need one more tool to finish this. So then you just keep growing and growing and growing, and
Yes.
print presses and stuff. So going there is awesome because you're using top of the line tools and you're really learning how to use them properly. And then that's when you can really get a taste. And like I said, those guys are awesome. It's like a co-op. It's like a gym membership. You pay a monthly, and you have to do a safety course, and then you basically can just rent space from them. As far as a coffee cart goes, really it comes down to kind of what I already touched on, which is functionality is the most important part of your cart because you are constantly moving. And again, it's hard because you want to be as unique as possible, especially in Los Angeles, but you got to start from the inside of the cart and then work your way out.
A few more questions came to mind for both of you. How are you going to scale? From 3 to, are you planning on doing more shows, or
Well, right now we do 5 a year.
are you still privately funded?
Yes.
Okay.
So we do 5 shows a year, and we really don't intend on growing beyond the capacity of what me and my partner can do together.
Okay.
That's
so
what
that's
we want to
it.
do.
We're looking at it.
Yeah. we want to keep the quality up. We don't want to get to the point where we grow too big too soon.
It's so easy to let in lower level artisans too, I feel like, when you kind of, as you grow, right?
Right. So we try to keep our shows at a certain, like we don't really make it bigger. We always have about 200 booths. We just want to keep it there, even though we have tons of space. I mean, if we wanted to fill up Central Park, we could probably have 1,000 booths, but
Wow.
no one would ever make it through to look at everyone because
Right.
it'd be too much. So we try to kind of keep it in a spot where shoppers can make it through, and we can also keep the quality good.
Cool. What about you? Is there are you guys going to try to get an investor, or how do you see your business growing?
I see it as so right now I'm the only one illustrating. I'm doing the custom stuff, so I feel like if I will bring another illustrator, it kind of I could grow, but it will be like more like less about me. So it's kind of the same. I don't want to grow too soon, but
Well, what if you had someone making your stuff and you designing it?
that would be nice. I mean,
That would probably be a way
yeah,
to scale,
it's
right?
like I started with just one machine and I have like 5.
Right.
So I would like if I tell you, oh no, I don't want to grow, but yeah, I want to grow, but I think like one step at a time.
Cool.
So,
So you're just growing at your leisure at this point?
yes.
Okay, good to know.
Mhm.
Any questions? Adam? Darian? I'm going to repeat this, by the way, okay? Are you doing all your marketing by yourself, or do you have employees? Was the question.
Yes, pretty much we do. My partner and I do it ourselves. We have an intern that does some of our Instagram stories and things like that. But for the most part, we do it ourselves. I have a background in PR. I used to do a lot of PR for art events, so I'm pretty familiar with it. And yeah.
Cool. Anyone else? All right, that's a wrap.